Hello dear learners, I Dr. Swati Punkar welcome to all online value-added course organized by Department of Botany, Shri Shivaji Science College, Amravati. We have successfully completed module 1st and 2nd. Now we are moving towards the module 3, that is the application and career opportunities. Now today we learn about the cultivation of medicinal plants. In recent years, there has been the tremendous growth in the interest in plant-based drug, pharmaceutical, perfumery products, cosmetics and aroma-based compound used in the food flavors and fragrance and the natural colors all around the world. The availability of the plant-based material is mainly from the natural source like the forest and the wasteland. But due to the ever increasing utilization of land for the food crops, devastation of forest and overexploitation of these crops, their availability from the natural sources has declined. And on the other hand, the demand for the internal use for export has been increased. Therefore, it is necessary to produce these crops on a large scale. Although India is a leading photo of medicinal plant in the world, the rate of growth of crop in the relation to their economic prospects is not at all satisfactory. The reason for this apparent backwardness are many and varied. To overcome these constraints, it is necessary to organize the cultivation of medicinal crops on an area-wise basis and organize their marketing on the similar lines and as that of the other cash crops like coffee, tea, cardamom to boost their production and returns. In fact, in some states like Tamil Nadu, there are some cooperatives which are exclusively engaged in the procurements or the marketing of these crops. India, with the vast biodiversity and potential for the commercial exploitation, could become the world leader in the supply of raw material for the phytopharmaceutical industry. The introduction of medicinal plant into the cropping pattern for farming communities, especially in the dry land and watershed area, could provide a strong thrust to the need for the soil and water conservation, as well as to provide returns indirectly help in in situ conservation of this crop to be significant extent. There are so many opportunities one can get by cultivating various medicinal plants. So let's know about the cultivation of some medicinal plants. The first is aloe vera. It is a perennial succulent plant. It is highly demandable medicinal plant. Aloe vera is a hardy plant, grows on variety of soil. It does well in the sandy coastal or loamy for the plain with the pH up to 8.5. The climate for cultivation of aloe vera is usually between March and June. The plant has wide adaptability. It is found growing in warm, humid or the dry climate. However, in dry region, the crop should be provided with the protective irrigation. Before cultivation, the land should be plugged twice. The field should be cleaned thoroughly of weeds. The plants are generally propagated by root sucker and rhizome cutting. The plants are planted in such a way that 2/3 portion of the root sucker or the rhizome cutting should be underground. Now grading the manure of aloe vera plant, it is very newly domesticated crop. It is full production technology including the manure requirement is yet to be worked out. And ad hoc basis, the application of mixture of nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus is recommended. The fertilizers are applied in the soil near the root system after the plant are established. After the planting, the land should be irrigated. During the crop period, the irrigation must be provided according to the moisture content of the soil. Generally, 4 to 5 irrigation per year are sufficient. However, water should be allowed to stagnate near the plant. Weeding may be done twice a year and land should be weed free. Normally, the plant is not affected by any pest or diseases, but recently the leaf spot caused by Alternaria species and Fusarium species has been reported from India. The plants are harvested 8 months after the planting. While the harvesting, the plant can be removed manually or with the help of tractor drawn disc or the cultivator. The broken rhizome part left in the soil throw out new sprout in the spring for raising the succeeding crop. An aloe plantation gives the commercial yield from the second year up to the age of 5 years, after which it needs to replanting. Then the next one is the Ashwagandha, that is the Vidania somnifera. It is an important cultivated medicinal crop of India. Ashwagandha is mentioned as an important drug in ancient Ayurvedic literature. Ashwagandha grows successfully in the sandy loam, light red soil with the good organic matter and drainage. Under such soil condition, it is also easy to dig out the roots out without damaging them. The soil pH ranges from 7.5 to 8 is ideal. About the climate for growing Ashwagandha, the plant prefers a subtropical climate. It is planted during the late rainy season and dry weather for its successful growth. In this condition, the roots develops fully. The crop can be grown by directly sowing the weeds into the field as well as by raising the seedling and transplanting them. The seeds are sown directly in the main field by the broadcasting. Since it is largely grown as a rain-filled crop, the sowing is determined by the monsoon. After the receiving one or the two showers, the field is thoroughly prepared, divided into the plots of convenient size. The seeds are sown during the second week of July. The Ashwagandha crop does not require the heavy doses of manure and fertilizers. In Madhya Pradesh, where it is grown on the commercial scale, no fertilizers are applied and the crop is cultivated on only residual fertility. Studies at the Indore Research Station have shown no effect on nitrogen and phosphorus on its root yield. Also, there are no known serious pests infecting this crop. About the disease, the seed rotting, seedling blight and leaf blight are the common diseases affecting the Ashwagandha. Harvesting starts from the January and continues till the March. The maturity of the crop is judged by the drying out of leaf and the berries turning red. The entire plant is uprooted and the roots are separated from the aerial parts by cutting the stem 1 to 2 cm above the crown. They are then transversely cut into the small pieces about 7 to 10 cm for drying. Occasionally the roots are dried as a whole. The berries are plucked from the dried plants and threshed to obtain the seeds. The dried whole roots undergo cleaning, trimming and grading before dispatch. They have beneath with the club to remove the adhering soil and the thin lateral roots and the rootlets. The main taproot may be cut into the transfer pieces. The entire product of the carefully hand sorted into the 4 grades based on the thickness of uniformly of the pieces. An average yield of 300 to 500 kilohectare of dried roots and 50 to 75 kilohectare of seeds can be obtained. Then the next one in Rolfia serpentina. Rolfia serpentina, commonly referred as a Sarpagandha. It is one of the most important native medicinal plant of India. Apart from the Rolfia serpentina, there is another species, that is the Rolfia tetraphylla, which is also cultivated on the commercial scale. In India, Sarpagandha has 400-year history of use in treatment of snake bite, insect sting, nervous disorder, etc. The plant grows in wide variety of soils, from sandy to loamy soil. It does not grow well in soil having pH 8 or above. The plant ideal pH for this crop is for 4.6 to 6.2. Generally, the plant produces thicker roots in black, stiff loam soil than in the heavy clay or the sandy soil. It flourishes in hot, humid condition and can be grown both the sun and the partially shade. In its natural habitat, the plant thrives under the shade of forest trees. Direct sowing of the seeds in the field has not been successful and hence the seedlings are raised in the nursery and transplanted into the field. The cultivation of Rauwolfia by root cutting, by root stump and by the stem cutting. The stem cutting have been found less satisfactory than the root cuttings. The use of organic manure, the leaf mold and compost has been recommended to increase the quantity of nutrient in the soil and improve the drainage. The plants respond better to chemical fertilizer than the organic manures. Nitrogenous fertilizers induce the more vegetative growth followed by the organic manure. Nitrogen seems to have the stunning effect on the root, but the combination of nitrogen with the phosphate result in the better for the root growth than the nitrogen alone. The application of phosphate induce more growth of thick as well as thin roots. In Rauwolfia serpentina placentation, it is possible to grow intercrops. Particularly whether or in Rauwolfia serpentina, it is possible to grow intercrops. Particularly where the good irrigation facility are available, it is reported that although the yield of roots are higher under the monoculture, the net returns were the highest when the Rauwolfia has intercrop with the soybean and onions or soybean and garlic. The leaf caused by the Cercospora rauwolfia manifest as a dark brown color spot on the upper surface and the leaf and yellowish brown on the lower surface. The affected leaves turn yellow, become dry and subsequently fall off. The roots are exploitable size are generally collected 2 to 3 years after the planting, that is from the 18 months onwards. It is reported that roots dug in the winter, that is in the December, when the plants have shed their leaves, a light irrigation should be given in advance to facilitate the easy digging of roots. Then the next one is Safed Muesli. The Safed Muesli is the small perennial herb botanically known as the Chlorophytum species. The Chlorophytum borevineum and the Chlorophytum tuberosum is the most commercially exploited and the widely grown species. The roots of Safed Muesli are the well-known tonic. At present, the roots fresh and the attractive price, which determined by the size of tubers and their physical appearance. It has a large consistent demand in the world market and its annual demand estimated to be about 300 to 500 tons. It can be grown in most of the soil types, but red soil with the normal pH rich in organic matter is most suitable to grow it is commercially. It also comes up well drained loamy to sandy soil for the cultivation of the Safed Muesli. The vegetative growth and fleshy root develop is facilitated by the warm and humid weather with the sufficient amount of moisture during the growing period. Safed Muesli can be propagated both sexually and asexually method. Since the seed remain dormant for about 10 to 11 months, the vegetative propagation is prepared over the seed propagation. The propagation should be planted in the field in the 3rd week of June, followed by the light irrigation. Safed Muesli is a crop of the rainy season, therefore it does not require regular irrigation. However, in the absence of rains, irrigation may be given 10 to 15 days interval depending on the soil type and the climatic condition. The leaf-eating caterpillars and the white grubs are the major insect pests, and the leaf blight and the red spots are important diseases in this crop. By spraying fertilizers, it may be controlled. The crop mature is about 3 months after the planting. At maturity, the leaves become yellowish and ultimately dry up. Thus, the crop should be harvested when leaves have dried, which takes place in the month of September to October. Then the next one is Ctenospora. Ctenospora, commonly called as goldwell. It is an important medicinal plant. The crop can be grown on a wide range of soil. Medium black or red soil is most suitable for this plant. It is very hardy plant and found growing in the varied type of climate in the several part of country. However, for its luxuriant growth, the warm and humid tropical climate is suitable. It is propagated through seeds and cuttings. The seeds have poor germination capacity. Therefore, for economic cultivation, it is propagated through cuttings. About 10 to 15 centimeter long stem cuttings with at least 2 nodes are planted in raised bed or in the polybags for greater success. The treating the cut ends with the rooting hormones gives the better result. It takes 8 to 10 weeks for the cutting to root, and after 10 weeks they are ready for the transplantation. The usual planting time is during on the set of monsoon in the month May to June. Latter frequency, the irrigation can be reduced to once in every 5 to 6 days depending upon the soil and climatic condition. Usually nitrogen phosphorus is applied to obtain a good yield. The pest and diseases problem are low in this crop, or if occur then can be controlled by spraying the fertilizers. The leaves and stem are economic part of this plant. The first harvest of the leaves is obtained after 3 to 4 months of planting and subsequently at a 2 months interval. While harvesting, the care should be taken to pluck the leaves without damaging the veins. These leaves are then spread on a clean floor for drying. In about a week time, when they are fully dried, they are packed in polythene limb bag for further marketing. An average yield of about 5,000 kilohectare per year of dried leaf can be obtained. In this course, we had covered 3 modules regarding the various aspects of the medicinal plants. I hope this cultivation practice will also prove to be very much useful to you. So, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.